Einstein was a swindler or a genius. Who was Einstein? A great scientist or prideha, a crook, a deceiver, a charlatan, an idiot, a clumsy handyman. Who is he? I would like to know what everyone is hiding, whether it is true or not. The mystery of Einstein, like his genius, haunts many. Perhaps he was just a clever charlatan who managed to deceive the world by passing off as his ideas what he stole from others. Or was he a real genius whose name is forever inscribed in the history of science? To find the answer, it's worth looking at the facts. Einstein was truly a brilliant physicist whose work revolutionized science. The theory of relativity, quantum physics, the photoelectric effect. His discoveries turned the world upside down and became the foundation for many modern technologies. However, his life was not without controversy. In 1905, when he published his revolutionary papers, he was working as a lowly clerk in a patent office. This raised questions about whether he could carry out such complex research and make such discoveries under such conditions. Some believe that he was part of a secret society of scientists who were actually behind his discoveries, and that Einstein himself was just a convenient puppet, a face for the public. Another argument against Einstein is his work on the atomic bomb. Some believe that he himself was horrified by the results of his work, that he understood the terrible consequences of using atomic energy. This version is supported by his later works, in which he spoke out against nuclear weapons and advocated peace. But others believe he simply wanted to use his authority to influence policy, and was really only concerned about his reputation. There are also accusations of plagiarism. Some argue that Einstein simply borrowed ideas from other scientists, and then passed them off as his own. But these accusations are often based on superficial analysis, without deep dive into the context of scientific works of the time. It is important to understand that the history of science is full of contradictions and inaccuracies. Einstein, like any other scientist, was not perfect. He did mistakes, he had ambitions and weaknesses, but his contribution to science is undeniable. In the end, the question of who Einstein really was remains open. Perhaps he was both a genius and a swindler at the same time. He may have been a complex, contradictory man who made great discoveries, but was also not without human weaknesses. No matter how we judge Einstein, his legacy, his ideas, and his influence on science will live with us for a long time. And perhaps this is precisely where his true genius lies, in the fact that he left us not just discoveries, but a riddle that makes us think, doubt, and seek the truth. The history of science is full of examples where genius went hand in hand with inconsistency, and scientific breakthroughs generated not only admiration, but also suspicion. The figure of Einstein is undoubtedly the clearest illustration of this phenomenon. The fact that Einstein made his revolutionary discoveries while working as a humble clerk should not be taken as evidence of fraud. On the contrary, this may indicate his extraordinary ability for abstract thinking, which allowed him to make scientific breakthroughs outside the walls of academies. Moreover, history knows many examples of brilliant scientists whose talents were revealed in the most unexpected circumstances. The hypothesis of a secret society allegedly behind Einstein looks extremely dubious. There is no serious evidence of its existence, and the explanation of the Einstein phenomenon by an intriguing but unproven conspiracy speaks more of a desire for conspiracy theories than for an objective analysis. Accusations of plagiarism also require a balanced approach. Science is a constant dialogue, where ideas are intertwined, complemented, and challenged. It is important to separate borrowing, which is characteristic of any creative process, from direct theft of other people's ideas. In the case of Einstein, there is no irrefutable evidence of the latter. As for his role in the creation of the atomic bomb, it is indeed controversial. On the one hand, his discoveries formed the basis of this terrible weapon. On the other hand, he was always aware of the danger of his discoveries, and actively opposed the arms race, calling for peace and disarmament. Thus, a clear answer to the question of whether Einstein was a genius or a swindler cannot be given. Most likely, he was a complex and contradictory person, like most geniuses. His scientific merits are undeniable, but at the same time he was also a man of his time, with his own weaknesses and contradictions. Rather than trying to label him a genius or a crook, it is more important to study his legacy in its entirety, paying tribute to his genius, but not turning a blind eye to the controversial aspects of his biography. Only in this way can we understand the Einstein phenomenon and learn lessons from his life and work. Of course, Einstein's accusations of plagiarism, like any other hypothesis, require careful testing and analysis. Critics who point out borrowings in Einstein's work must provide compelling arguments and evidence that goes beyond simple comparisons of formulas or ideas. It is necessary to prove not only the fact of borrowing, but also intent, the deliberate appropriation of someone else's work. It is important to remember that science develops evolutionarily. New theories are built on the basis of previous research, rethinking old ideas and searching for new solutions. It is quite natural that Einstein, like any other scientist, relied on the work of his predecessors and drew inspiration from already existing ideas. This does not detract from his merits, but rather emphasizes the continuity of scientific knowledge. Moreover, attributing the image of a crook to Einstein is not only unethical, but also counterproductive. Focusing on finding dark spots in the biography of a genius distracts from the main thing, his contribution to science. Instead of looking for imaginary conspiracies and attributing nefarious motives to him, we should focus on studying his scientific legacy, on understanding how his discoveries changed our understanding of the world. The mystery of Einstein is not whether he was a genius or a crook, but how he was able to make such significant breakthroughs in science. Perhaps the answer lies in his extraordinary thinking, in his ability to see what escaped the gaze of others. Or maybe this phenomenon will remain an unsolved mystery, pushing new generations of scientists to new discoveries.